Welcome to Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. I'll be covering every studio song the band has recorded and every bonus track that I can find. Each week we'll go over a new song from the beginning to where they are currently, and as they keep adding albums, I'll keep adding shows. Let the deep dive party begin.
In the magic garden, some were singing, some were dancing.
Hello and welcome to Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. I am your host, Scott Haskin, and I've got a really interesting cover song for you guys today. We are talking about the song Prisoner that was recorded by Uriah Heep for the Abominog album. Now, this song was originally written by James Lance, D.B. Cooper, and Tony Reparetti. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Riparetti. Maybe that's more accurate. But in any case, this was re-recorded by Uriah Heep, but was originally recorded by a band called Sue Sad and the Next. The Next what? I don't know. That's where the name of the band ends. And it was off of their self-titled album in 1980. That's when the song was introduced to the world. Now, if you are like me and you did a double take when you heard the name D.B. Cooper, I'm going to assume that it is not the same D.B. Cooper that disappeared November 24th, 1971, after hijacking a Boeing 727 in the United States airspace between Portland and Seattle. Probably not the same guy because no one knows who he is. And I would highly doubt he would have stolen all this money, hijacked an airplane, disappeared, and then come back to get a writer's credit on this song. Although, people have done really weird things over the course of time. But in any case, that name was certainly very specific. So I found that they had their name on that credit very interesting. And, maybe they wanted to tie it into that to gain a little bit of attention. You never know. But in any case, the song was re-recorded by Uriah Heep for the Abominog album. And here it is.
Time has come to say goodbye to the broken memories. They're locked inside like prisoners in a place that no one sees. Stayed up late with a friend of mine, southern comfort till dawn. We talked about the pains of love. Should have known from the start you were right.
Well, I didn't really want to interrupt that because it was flowing so nicely. But, at some point, I got to talk. So, first of all, I think the opening is great. I think it's really nice. And I think I've said this on pretty much every song so far. It's really nice to see the strength of the guitar really coming into play on this album. Really like what he's playing here. I really like the tone of the guitar as well with the clean sound. I love the effects that Mick is putting in the background there. Really nice fillers. Nothing that's, you notice it, you hear it, you feel it, but it's not so much that it distracts you from what's going on vocally. Peter Goalby sounds really nice in this range, when he's just singing straight with not really pushing the power too hard, just straight singing. He sounds really good. Everything just sounds so nice here. I really like the sound of the backups on this. They sound like they really cover a wide range of the note spectrum. Really nice to have that high harmony back. The addition of Lee Kerslake as a drummer, you would think would be good enough, to have his performance back. But to think about, the vocal side of things that he provides, that's just another huge perk to having him in your band. And he certainly shines on this song very well. But I like this. I like the chorus. I think it's very simple and straightforward. The backups are very simple, but they just sound good. The blend of them is what makes it for me more than what they're saying specifically, because they're just saying the name of the song and it's important, but they're not doing, a lot of filler or different things there. So it's not, to me, what they're saying so much as just the sound that it adds to the song. And part of that is probably because I'm not a big lyric guy anyway. I really look at the vocals more as an instrument and a sound that's enhancing the song as opposed to the message of the song, which as a musician is kind of weird and somebody who writes lyrics themselves. But, when I'm listening to other people's music, and it was really Cirque du Soleil, I think, that started me along that path, because I used to memorize all the words and, well, most of them, and that. But I think it was once I started listening to music in other languages, and Cirque du Soleil was really the first time I paid attention to that, because most of their lyrics are in a language that isn't even real. It's all gibberish. And that being the case, with aside from a couple of songs that they did in English and I think one or two in French, it's just all made up. So it's an interesting thing, and that really kind of just changed how I looked at vocals all over. But I like the sound of it. I think the sound of this is very commercial friendly. Definitely could have been played on the radio. It's a nice song. It's like they heard me and they said, oh, well, we're not doing enough backups for you, huh? All right, well, we'll show you. And then they add a bunch of stuff in on the next chorus. I love it. That's awesome. Well, the reason I said that is because we have come to expect that it's not just going to be one word. They're usually doing some kind of oohs and ahs or backing track or just something, more than saying the name of the song. There have been a few songs like that, but there's usually some kind of extra dynamics that add, just that little bit more of Heep into a song. So it was kind of surprising not to hear it, but then I should have known that was only an early chorus. And sure, of course, they're going to put something in as the song goes on. But it sounds really good. I like it. I can't exactly describe the feel of the song for me. I want to say it's like I'm out in the countryside and, the sun's still in the sky, but you could tell it's like late afternoon heading toward evening. And there's just something about like an earthy smell in the air. I know I do this all the time. I go off on these weird tangents that have nothing to do with the song, but it's what it makes me feel, just a bunch of people standing there, looking at a situation, trying to make a decision. I don't know. That's just what the visual is that comes to me. But in any case, I really like it. It has that, almost like the story of a Western, but it doesn't feel like a Western at all. It just feels like a really, really well put together song. And the blend of guitars is really helping keep it together. I'm not hearing a lot of the bass on this one, but it's kind of weird. We're so used to hearing the bass up in front, and as different lineup changes have occurred, that's changed a little bit. So maybe once the music changes again or something, we'll hear a little bit more of the bass guitar than we are currently. Wow. I just love that. That just sounded so beautiful, so rich and full. I love that. There was a little bit of synth brass in there, a little bit of keyboards. I could hear a little more bass coming through. And maybe the reason that we're not hearing it as much is because he's playing more in the upper registers than the lower registers, and it's blending into the song a little bit more. That's very possible. The other thing to consider, though, is just the layering here. I mean, I'm hearing the keyboards doing a couple of different things. We've got the bass playing just gently moving it forward, but not really being very busy. Then we've got the guitar solo over the top of that. It just sounds fantastic. And then it all comes to a head with that one, what sounds like a top end piano note that has a little bit of a delay on it as they go back into the next vocal part. But man, that sounds so good. I love it.
Say goodbye to the broken memories. They're locked inside like prisoners in a place that no one sees. I'm just a prisoner. Don't wanna lock myself away. Prisoner, I get so lonely, lonely. I'm a prisoner. Just when you think love will stay, it walks right out on you. It walks right out on you. I'm just a prisoner. I don't wanna lock myself away. Prisoner, I get so lonely, lonely. I'm a prisoner. Just when you think love will stay, it walks right out on you. It walks right out on you.
Okay, that last part sounded just a little bit weird, but I think it was a buzz roll on the snare drum that kind of made everything seem a little bit louder all of a sudden. But yeah, I like the sound of this. I think that the vocals are good, but the backing vocals after they say prisoner, I think they're a little bit loud and drowning Peter Goalby out just a little bit. They could have been brought down. But apart from that, the whole thing sounds good. Lee is on fire on this part. We are starting to hear a little bit of the keyboards cut through a little bit, which is really nice. And yeah, very cool.
Won't somebody set me free? Take me away from this misery. I get so lonely. I get so lonely. Please, somebody set me free. Please, please, set me free.
Okay, I see. So that little wash on the drums that we heard at the end of the last section, that was really designed to kind of take the drums out of the song at that point. Very interesting because it does sound completely different after that. Then you really start hearing the synths cut through a little bit more. We've got a lot of brass sounds going on. That's definitely keyboard because there's no way a human being could play that as a brass player. At some point, you got to breathe. And unless they're doing the Philip Glass style of writing music where you say, well, just bring in two players and alternate them so that, the sound never stops, which I really don't think that they did. It really sounds synthy to me for the brass, but it's a really cool part. I like it. I like the way the vocals fade out. I think it's just a really elegant song. I love the layering on it. I love the variety in it. Nice surprises and twists, some real power in the song, even though it doesn't feel like there necessarily will be. It turns out there is. And I love that. It's a really nice blend with a lot of unexpected surprises. So I'm going to say great job on this one. Now I'm really curious to hear the original. I know I say this all the time and then I never do it, but I'll have to hunt that down and see if I can, find some time to listen to it. Because this is this is one of those ones where I would really be curious as to what the difference is between the original and how Heep changed it to suit Uriah Heep. Because I don't know if there's a keyboard in the original. I don't know if it was an electric guitar. The song might be slower, faster. Who knows? Could be anything. So this is one of the ones I'm a little more curious about. So I'll have to check that out at some point. But thank you guys for joining me for another episode. I hope that you enjoyed this song as much as I did, because I think it's a killer tune and a killer version of it, I should say. But you guys have a great day out there, and we'll see you soon. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. If you have enjoyed this show, please consider going over to Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast outlet, leaving a rating or a review. Be sure to subscribe to make sure that you are notified when new episodes are available. Please be sure to share this podcast with your fellow Uriah Heep enthusiasts and anyone who you think would like Uriah Heep, which should be everyone. And if you are so inclined, please feel free to contribute to the Patreon account. And if you are not a Patreon subscriber, you can also pay through the PayPal link on the website listed in the show links below. I would also like to thank Uriah Heep for their very generous support of the show, and thank you guys for listening. We'll see you in the next episode. Happy days!